All right. So just had a very, very, very productive meeting with person from the city. And yeah, it was really, really good. I actually wrote my notes down this time instead of actually typing them in. I was a little bit too excited. But there's a project I'm proposing. I can't go into details about it, right? Just yet. But there's a project that I'm proposing that could be I think it would be a big, big thing um, if it were to go through, and it is a major push forward. So it will definitely help the economy of Tacoma and downtown. So, anyhow, that was the meeting that I was on, and the concept that I created was pretty good. So they liked it. They liked it. So, anyhow, that's not what this video is about. Make sure you join the Discord down in the description box below. Pretty helpful stuff that we actually talk about, one of which is cryptocurrency. We have a lot of people on there that know quite a bit about it. And actually, there was a time when I was not on the cryptocurrency standpoint. I was like against it. I remember back many years ago, a friend of mine in New Mexico, he was like, you know what, there's this thing called Bitcoin, and you should invest in it. And I'm like, Bitcoin? He's like, yeah, like there's this Bitcoin thing. You should really buy some because, one day it's going to be big and there's this whole thing about it. He's like, I'm learning a lot about it. I said, that's silly. He's like, no, seriously. He's like, if I could, I'd take my whole paycheck. We work together. I'd take my whole paycheck and buy some, but I know my wife wouldn't let me do that. I'm like, what? What is this? So he kind of told me a little bit about it, but I'm like, eh. At the time, I forget how much it was. It wasn't much. It was a few $100. And I'm like, that's a lot of money for something like that. I didn't understand that you could buy bits and pieces of it. I didn't know that. So anyhow, he was going to buy a whole coin. I said, man, that's silly. Well, I was the fool. So anyhow, I don't know if he bought it or not, but fast forward now to 2021, and I finally jump in on Bitcoin and a few. There's many others I actually have. So I have a portfolio of a lot, right? So I went. My goal was to try to go gently into it, but then as I was reading up on it, I was like, I want to have a kind of a diverse portfolio. So I have some stable coins in there and different things, and so I just put in quite a bit. And so Noel was like, what are you doing? So I'm like, basically it's tied. Unfortunately, I didn't realize it's tied to our bank or our business account. So I've been just putting money into this, stocks too. And I didn't realize. And so she's getting these little pings and she's like, what is that? What? What's going on? And I'm just buying stuff. Just ping, ping, ping. She's getting all these little pings of me investing in cryptocurrency and also just updating some stock and additional stock, something that I would definitely advise folks to do. It's important to really have a nest egg. So there's some traditional things that people do like 401ks and IRAs and stuff like that. That's cool. But I think that ownership is a big thing, a big, big thing. One of the things I think that is important is to try to own your own home. I spoke to a city leader who she's also someone who, it's funny because on our Discord, someone was talking about they wanted to build a home made out of shipping containers. And, we were telling them that that's probably not a good idea at this point because there's a lot of regulation. It's not the traditional standard home. Insurance is probably going to balk at that idea. It's going to be hard. A commercial project, a little bit different. But for a home, you could, but you're going to face a lot of issues. And funny, the person I was speaking to, who's a city leader, was also in the newspaper today because she's saying that this is an untapped resource that we have, that is very true. Very true. Shipping containers are an untapped, I know I'm all over the place and I'll get to the point, but shipping containers are an untapped resource. and we have a ton of them that come in through this port. We have the biggest port in the Pacific Northwest, right here in Tacoma. And there's so many that are just right at there's endless possibilities. Endless possibilities. So I'm working my way towards that because there's a lot of things that I'm hoping that we can do here in terms of shipping containers also on the commercial side of things. One, and I will talk about this a little bit, is getting developers to use them for retail spaces. Because I had talked to her and said, one of the big issues is micro businesses. They don't have a lot of options. And so having shipping containers as that sort of option is a good one. The other is I think it's in Switzerland, maybe Sweden, something. One of them, one of the two. It starts with an S. They built this huge housing block made of shipping containers, apartments. I think they're like 8 containers high. Big, huge things for a university that's there. Big, huge thing. Why can't we do something like that here? See what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make sense. We're just letting them sit. Yeah, they're expensive to update, but the price is not as bad as building from the ground up. You see what I'm saying? Like, people think you just get a shipping container and that's it. No, you have to actually insulate them. You still have to use wood or whatever you need to use on the inside. You have to paint the outside of them to, because they're big metal cube. So you have to have reflective paint, I believe, or something like that, so that the heat doesn't penetrate so much. You have to have insulation, like I mentioned, so that you're comfortable. You then still have to remove the floor. The floor is the most toxic part of them because everything and anything has been on them. You have to remove that and put something else in it. So there is cost there, but you have an actual shell that you can pretty much do your thing with, and we have a ton of them here and nothing gets done. They just come in and leave, and there they are. We have businesses here who sell them. A lot of people use them for storage, but we can use them for so much more. Anyway, that's not what this is about. Sorry, tangent. But it is about Bitcoin and the fact that now Bitcoin is being adopted by a country as their currency is a big deal. Now, I know there are some people who don't necessarily trust cryptocurrencies and that type of thing. You have people who will sit and say it's a waste of time or it's some sort of a silly thing or it's unproven, that type of thing. Sure, you're going to have a lot of skeptics. There are a lot of people who, I don't have my wallet with me, but there's a lot of people who, Noel probably has it. I don't have it in here at all. Normally this is where it's at. But typically with paper currency, people are used to that. They're used to that. This is something that is new. And it is something that is, anytime there's something that's new, people are going to always be like, I don't like it. But once you do a little bit of research, it's like, okay, I can get on board with this. Yeah, there's some volatility, of course, but diversify and you're better off. Start off low. Don't invest a lot. Start off low if you don't really trust it. Money that you don't care if you were to lose. That's the one thing. Money that I can say, you know what, if I lost it, okay. If I went gambling, because there's a big old casino here, if I took this money gambling, I'd hate it that I'd lost, but okay, that's all right. You don't you don't want to go there and put in like $80,000 worth of money and gamble with it unless you can do that and not care. I didn't got it like that. I can't. $80,000. It's like, whew. So you put in money that you don't mind, pocket change that you don't mind losing, and see what happens. And diversify. I don't even know. Is my thing up? And I can tell you. With stocks, I have quite a few, and with cryptocurrency, I have even more. I just have a diverse portfolio of different ones because, I don't believe in putting all your eggs in one basket. And that's the thing that concerns me about El Salvador. El Salvador basically is taking Bitcoin as their currency because like a lot of developing countries, and Haiti is another good prime example where I think this would work. They don't trust themselves because you have people who get into leadership and there's corruption, government corruption, different things. And so it just doesn't work out. If you look at the Haitian currency, which is the Haitian good or gourd or good, whatever it's called, the value of it is just trash at this point. It's not that strong. And so as a result, people live in high volatility all the time because, buying a piece of bread one week is going to be way different possibly the next week because there's huge volatilities in the currency, massive inflations. And so, getting gas, anything, it is huge in terms of countries like that, right? So today I had mentioned on Discord that just investing in Bitcoin, that would freak me out because of the huge swings. But someone brought it up. She said, but these countries are used to that. They're used to huge volatile swings in their own currency. And I didn't think about that, but that's very true. So a lot of these folks are like, what do we have to lose? If anything, we know that this is kind of a more sure bet than their own currency. Now in El Salvador, they also use the US dollar too. But keep in mind, the US dollar is hard to come by for a lot of people, right? Most countries, even Haiti technically is not supposed to use US dollars. They're not technically supposed to. It's not their official currency. But people trade it often because they use it often because they know that they can exchange it and get whatever, plenty of money back. So it still does work, right? It still works. I remember going there and buying my dinner. So the person that was there with me, she runs an organization. So I bought our dinner. And I don't know how the exchange thing works. So I asked the person that I was there with, and I said, how much do I need to pay them? She's like, probably $20 would be fine. Because that includes tip and everything else. So I go up there to pay, and I pull out a $20 bill, and the lady behind the register, her eyes got big, and she, literally snatched it from me as I was reaching it out, and put it under the till. She didn't put it in the register, put it under the till. Now she probably took that currency, that $20 bill, and rode home with it. Sarate, because they're struggling people. I don't mind. I really and truly don't mind. But it makes sense for a country like El Salvador to say, look, we're going to take a chance on Bitcoin and use that as a currency. And they also have what is it? Let me find it here. I'm all over the place because I had meetings today, and this was a big meeting. And I used all my brain capacity for it. So I'm kind of out of it. But I forget, there's some sort of an app that they're going to be using where they can actually use for everyday items, right? So they can use it several different times. The transaction fees are a little bit lower, that type of thing. My point in this is that it brings more legitimacy to digital currency like Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, things like that. It brings more legitimacy to them. And I don't think that El Salvador is going to be the only place that does this. There was a gentleman that's on our Discord who knows a lot about cryptocurrency. And he said that was the first thing that popped out of his mouth was, there's other countries in South America that are looking at this saying, Central and South America. So I think that there's going to be a few. It wouldn't surprise me in the next 5 years to have several other countries saying, look, this is the way that we're going to go. El Salvador has even went to the point of using their own power because they get a lot of their electrical power from volcanoes. They're using that to even help mine Bitcoin. So it's a serious thing. I do like how fast and how quick it was for them. I don't know behind the scenes how long it took, but just like that, boom, boom, boom. It's been great for me and other people who own some Bitcoin because it was in the doldrums the other day. It just sucked. There was a lot of news and stuff like that wasn't so nice. And so it didn't really help cryptocurrency. So all of the cryptocurrencies I looked, all of them were just in the trash, except for Tether, right? But, and there's others that were okay. But yeah, it was just horrible. And then today, rebound. So it's like, thankfully, that happened. Thank you, El Salvador. I appreciate you. What do you think? What do you think about cryptocurrency? Are you going to take the plunge and actually get some if you don't have any? Do you think that other countries are going to adopt the same type of policy? Typically, developing countries. There may be some also, more bigger nations that might do this too. But do you think more countries will actually take this as a form of currency and shed their own? What do you think? Make sure you comment down below. Make sure you join the Discord, which is also down below. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. And until next time, I will see you. Take care.